So what is this? Hey everyone, this is THD here. Today we have the venerable Sony Walkman TPS-L2, the original Walkman. This was released in 1980. It was actually announced in 1979 to great success, as you all know. Iconic piece of audio history right there. Of course, we have the TX CRC mini reel tape in there, along with the Sony Metal Master and the famous BF ASF Chrome Maxima 2. The story behind this is one of the co-founders of Sony loved to listen to his classical audio cassettes on the plane while he was on business trips and stuff, or traveling. And he was using a very large personal cassette recorder that reporters used. It was a professional model, probably the size of a, I don't know, probably about 8 times the size of that Walkman there. Very large, maybe like a shoebox, like a small shoebox. And he went to his engineers and asked them to make it smaller, streamline it. So they took all the recording and non-essential electronics out and just left a playback only device with a smaller housing. And there you go. That is the result. This Walkman is in great condition. It did have to be restored though internally, with the rubber belts and pulleys due to it being 40 years old. Cosmetically, it's in great shape. The device does have a unique feature. It has the dual headphone jack, and it has the hotline button, which is a microphone built in so that you can hear outside environment when you're listening through headphones, because they were worried about social interaction with the device, thinking people wouldn't want to wear it because of the social interaction. But it turns out that people loved having their own music, because if you figure before this there were no personal music devices, only home audio and professional audio level stuff. Like I said, all the portable devices were used for mainly professional uses. I mean, they did have small radios, right? But nothing as far as that you controlled. You controlled the audio. So we're gonna take this thing and we're gonna have a listen to it in a later video and do some measurements for you. Thanks. Yes, it doesn't want to come out. These belts are actually in pretty good shape. I don't know if they're new. They don't look new, but they don't look like they're that old. Yeah. Look at these. There's an idler pulley right here. Which was the replacement set? Yeah, okay. Slightly skinnier. you keep these separate, because these belts don't look bad. I think someone's bending, or I think someone's already replaced them. But one of those belts in there was already replaced, which is fine. I mean, it's not like, hey, you know. This here is where the issue was with this Walkman. There is a small spring-loaded lever here with a pulley on it, and this was not functioning properly because it had some grease on it. Got like a little, there you go. This is the cap stand, which this is what actually turns your tape. And see, this is a weighted brass pulley, a heavy brass pulley, and there is a thrust screw that rides on the end of this that needs to be adjusted. Let me check the grooves. They're clean. There's no belt residue, because normally what happens is those belts will decompose and separate. The oils and stuff will come out and turn into a gooey mess, sort of like tar, and get inside these pulleys and gum them all up. But this is beautiful. Someone's already been in here. I don't know how recently it has been, but there's a small washer down there. We're going to put some synthetic lubricant on this. Right there. Just a little bit. Just a little. And I'm using isopropyl alcohol on this, 100%. And just so you know, alcohol does not, and water for that matter, doesn't conduct electricity. So it's actually just things that get in, that are mixed in with it. So this is great for using for cleaning. And this evaporates. I mean, water is obviously, it takes a long time to evaporate. If it was 100% pure distilled water, but you're going to use alcohol, isopropyl alcohol, to clean things, to get residues off. This motor is clean. Cleaning the pulley just to make sure there's no rubber inside of there. Everything else looks good. Great, and I'll leave on that. And these parts that don't have any metal bushings on them, you don't need to lubricate those, because they're plastic and nylon. But the metal to metal contact you should. Oops, a little too much. I'm going to clean that off. I mean, this is synthetic oil, which didn't exist when this was made. And it's gonna it's not gonna break down like a mineral based lubricant would. And obviously cycle out your Q-tips. Don't use the same one over and over and over. There's no replacement pulley for this one here. There's one set of, you can see, one set, 2 belts plus 2 idler tires. This is one set of 2 belts plus idler tire. So they're not the same. Are they the same part number? 77, yeah. They even had the same number, but they still say 1 and 2, 2 and 2. So that's just how they came. We bought it 2 different times probably. That supplier though, they're a good supplier. They custom make these things. They put in custom orders because you can't buy these belts and stuff anymore. They don't manufacture them on a wide basis. So they put in a custom order of probably like thousands of belts with the factory to get them to be made. And looking at the capacitors here too, these all look good. I don't see any leakage. No. That's epoxy to hold this on. Yep. Sony, I mean the quality manufacturing of these devices. I mean, someone had to do these by hand. All these solder joints. I mean, this is not surface mount. This is before surface mount existed in robots. There was a person sitting down putting all this stuff in. Your volume pots right here, which operate fine. I tested them. Your sliders. Here, take this off. Now the secret is to use a piece of tape on a part that's so small that you can't grab a hold of it, and you do grab a hold of it, they're so small. So you stick a piece of tape on one side of it, and you gently pry it off, and that way it's stuck to the tape. I learned this from watchmakers. I learned it from watchmakers because they're dealing with parts even smaller than this. And careful, there are some washers on this pulley. It can fall off. And you got a washer there. And a washer there, which will stick to your finger. You have a hard time handling them. You have to keep track of them. And there is this rubber tire. Yeah, this rubber tire is dry rot. You can see the cracks in it. Maybe you can see if I can zoom in on that. Hold it closer. Focus it in. Yeah, you can probably see that that's dry rotted and cracked, the pulley, which, you know, I don't know if it's going to affect the sound that bad, but we're going to replace it because this is going to be used for many years. So simply use your fingers to pry this off. If you use any tools, might not be a good idea. Maybe plastic. Yeah, you can feel it. It's kind of hard. This one much softer and more pliable, which means it's going to handle. Yeah. It's going to grip on this pulley, this white pulley right here. This turns the take-up head. I'm cleaning the surface of this off with alcohol so that it won't have any residues on it. Oops. Make sure that there's a spring there. This is the auto stop mechanism. But I'm cleaning it. Make sure there's a little belt residue on here. I can see little flakes of old belt. So someone has been in here. I could tell someone has been in here. Which, I mean, that's good, you know, someone's maintained this thing. That's the thing, you know, they design these things to work for years, but when they were selling these things, they were almost sold on the notion that, hey, this is a high quality piece of machinery, you're going to have to maintain it. Which meant, you know, going inside of it and doing maybe not this level of deconstruction, of disassembly, but a level. This device right here, this fulcrum shaft, it pivots on this pulley like you see. This a lot of times gets froze up on D6Cs, other Walkmans, right here. So, and this is what turns the take-up reel right here on the other side, the tape take-up reel. The other one spins only, you know, during fast forward rewind, and this is the one that spins for play. I mean, they both do, but I mean at different speeds. Because it happens at two different speeds. It's like the motor doesn't. There's pulleys that make it. And pulleys and gears that make it work faster when fast forward and rewind. So the motor always turns the same speed. It doesn't change speeds, and it's controlled. Obviously, it's speed controlled. Some of the Walkmans are quartz locked. This is before that, but it doesn't matter. I mean, it sounds incredible. You can't hear it. It's undiscernible by the ear. You could measure it with a meter, which I've done, but you can't hear it. Okay. I'm going to put a small drop of lubricant on that. Does not want to. There we go. It's going to go down here on the other side, underside. That needs to be cleaned off. There we go. New Q-tip. Okay, so we got the old belts and pulleys. Tires, I'm sorry, they're idler tires on a pulley. Make sure I'm marking these for further identification. What is today? 17. Okay. You get those washers. They're so small. Luckily, I have great dexterity. Thank you, Jesus. Great dexterity here. I'm also auto mechanic, and that one will stick better. Yep. Watchmakers even use a little piece of putty, which they call reticle, to put parts on. They stick them to the, there we go. Oh, you popped off of there. Once you get a hold of you, stay on there. There we go. Let me get this other washer on here. This is simply a plastic ring that is press fit over the edge of the shaft, and then there's a groove that keeps it from coming off. Here we go, and the tape helps protect it. There you go. Good to go there. A small very small dab of oil right there. A drop. There we go. Liberty oil products, 100% synthetic lubricant. Had good luck with them. For capstan lubrication. Yeah, there we go. Can see the mechanism working there. And another one here. Small drop right here on this bushing. And another very small right there. And we'll place this back in. Make sure these wires are moved out of the way. Wires move out the way. There we go. That works. Nope, knocked my, I think it's in a little squeeze bottle. And this will go over here. Oh yeah, look at that. It spins Spins like it's on ice. This is in the play position. I need to clean this off real quick. Cleaning off the idler, capstan idler, which also was not available. Pinch roller. This one looks fine. There's no cracks or dry rotting on it. It looks round. This might be new too. Yeah, it does look new. Somebody's been in here. It was sent in, I guess it was already being worked on. You also clean the head. So you also want to clean the playback head with isopropyl alcohol. Now this you could actually use lacquer thinner on, which is much stronger. This one's already clean though, so I don't see any oxide residue on it at all. There's none on the Q-tip either, so that's why it leads me to believe for sure someone's been in here maintaining this, because usually you would see some reddish or brownish colored oxides on here. This is the screw that you use to adjust the alignment of the head, the azimuth, which will hook up to the scope, and during a playback it'll tell you if these heads are in direct perpendicular alignment with the tape path. Great. Clear some stuff off. Everything's lined back up. I didn't do any of the belts tape. Oh no, here we got all this. Fold it over correctly. Here we go, this goes on this side. Points of solder points. You can use lacquer thinner on the soldering points too, on circuit boards. Just be careful not to get it on any plastic parts. Or anything you're worried about the color of and everything, because it will eat through plastic. Alright. You put the bridge back on. That would be good. Don't forget about that. Black. There we go. There's a thrust screw right here you use to adjust the tension on this pulley, which hasn't been moved, so it should be fine. Right. That is good. Testing for functionality there. Ease of how easy it glides. There we go. Those wires are clear. Oh, can't forget the switch. This is the tone control switch. Goes on the bottom of this. There's a switch on the other side of this PCB that, yep, there we go. Nice. Make sure that still functions. Let's see if I can put this in here. This is the one that needs to be on here. Because this is the side that has the force of this switch being moved on it. And this other work with this right here. There are actually some screws that were missing off of here. I happened to find some that fit. Which, of course, you can imagine if you had to find screws for a Walkman that was made 40 years ago. Yeah, I mean, they still make screws in general, but not for your Walkman. Can't go down to the hardware store and say, here, I need a screw for a 1979 Walkman, and be like, you might be able to find something that works, but it might be too long. and you have to cut it off. Okay. Oh, this spring came off right here. It flips around the other side. Luckily, that is attached. Let me get a smaller tool for this. Glad I saw that. This is the auto stop, which only works in play. It doesn't auto stop and rewind. It only auto stops in the play. So this hooks around here. There we go. Keeps the tension on this so this can go in here when it wants to stop. It clicks. Okay, here we go. So when it's moving, it constantly moves back and forth while this wheel is moving. And if it stops moving because the tape stops, then it activates a lever over here that pops the play button open. It pops the play button back up. There we go. You can see it moving. So in play, and then when it gets in it, that makes it stop. You can solder these wires back on. So another helpful tip is always take pictures of everything before you disassemble it. I mean, put the thing through a photo shoot so that you can see where all of the wires attach. Obviously this one there, I have the service manual, so you can look it up if you have to, ideally. But it's easier just to take pictures of it beforehand. Which, I mean, I have both. I've looked at them both because there was another one that had the microphone for the hotline was, you got that disc was unsoldered, and alright, so we're gonna run this back. I tinned these wires and everything already earlier. There we go. I'm right-handed. I mean, I usually hold the soldering iron the other hand, but just for the camera. Hang it. Put some. Yep. And this one. Make sure it looks that shiny. You want your joints to be shiny. There we go. I'm using a silver solder. So we got the wire soldered back on here. We're going to keep these taped up so that they're out of the way of the motor, but I'm just testing for functionality. Can you hear that? That is the thrust bearing, the thrust screw. Okay. And turn it over on the other side. You want it to be quiet. Yep, works on both sides. Then you feel the weight. If you sometimes you turn them over, it'll still make that noise. It's the pulley moving around, rubbing on the screw. So you have to make sure the tension of this nylon washer there is just the right amount of thrust so that it doesn't, so the capstan pulley doesn't move around laterally or okay. Alright, so now resolder this, which move this stuff away. Oh, keep your workstation clear, folks. There's another good tip for you. Down there, yep. This is for the microphone for the hotline. Dang, hand. I said I'm right-handed. Normally I hold the soldering iron with my right hand. Here we go. I'm going to redo this one here. Oh, that wire looks weak. Yeah, I'm going to have to redo that wire. Yeah, it broke right off. Here we go. Now I get to tin this. Sure. Put a little flux paste on there. You're actually cleaning this off. You're actually burning the oxidation off of this wire. Good to go. Silver solder again. Cardus, which is good for stereo equipment. Alright, so white wire goes right here. Alright, here we go. Yep, that's good. over so you can see very small. There we go. Nice looking joints there. Solder joints. Oops. And volume sliders. You got to make sure those stay in. So you can see they just epoxied a piece of aluminum in here to hold the sliders in, which today they probably would not do such a thing. They would just make the piece into the plastic. But then they had to make it, they made it extra so someone was in there. They had to put this piece in, they had to epoxy it in. Alright, so this is the plug, azimuth adjustment plug, which will pop out here. Luckily I've seen where that went, so there it is. I'm glad I saw that. You pop that so it'll adjust that you'll be able to have access to that screw. Let's go over here. You want to make sure your wires are clear. Wires. You got to make sure that the volume sliders are on the switches. Yeah. Come on. Nope, you're not on there yet. I adjusted the. Oh yeah, okay, you have to adjust, yeah, make sure you adjust them. I adjust the, since the volume knobs are in the 10 position, all the way up position, make sure that the switches match on the inside there. There you go. This has dual sliders. I don't know why they would do one for each. I wonder if that was for record leveling, because even though, you know, there was no record level on, there's no record capability on here. It was modeled, you know, modeled after recording, a recording deck that reporters used. The TCM, I don't remember the whole number, the TCM part, this the model number, but she's supposed to go in there. Oh, here we go. There you go. And this is clears out. Let me make sure this is clear right here. Let me put a piece of tape on that. Down. Looks good, this looks good. The switch is functioning. There was a screw that goes on it, but I don't know if this will fit. I got another screw here. Some of this, maybe so yeah, some of these were missing screws. 1, 2, not deep enough. This doesn't work either. Okay, we're going to adjust the tape speed here. Got a 3000 hertz sine wave tape. Let's see how it does. There we go. Settling in. It's right on. Alright, now we're going to test the 400 hertz, 399.7, we're 4, there we go. Settle right in. Alright. We're at 1000. We're testing it at 1000. You can see it's a little smoother. It's a little easier to read it. Here we go. That part's right on. We'll test at 10,000 though, because that's the higher frequencies where it does make more difference there. Here we go. Yeah, you can see it's a little bit off. So we'll get it right there. Yeah, it's very sensitive. You gotta see where it settles in at. There we go. I mean, literally the weight of the screwdriver can make the difference. Just removing it from the screw. Yeah, we're close. That's right on at 10,000. Go back to 1,000, you can see it's much smoother and easier to see, obviously, to read. You can see it's close, yep. Yep, we're good. Very good. Very good. This is 40 years old, imagine that, huh?